Hello, this is the Tradesight U.S. Stocks and Futures Market Preview for Thursday, January 8th, 2015. Charts as usual brought to you by eSignal 12. Here's a look at the ES front month futures contract. Let's take a look at let's look at the S&P cash index. It's probably a better way to look at this. So we did talk about last night how if the first 3 days of the month are solidly in one direction, there's a rule, there's a kind of a historic precedent for the rest of the month kind of generally heading the other way. And the first 3 days of the month of January, which was last Friday, this Monday, and Tuesday, were definitely to the downside. So potentially the rest of the month could be the upside. And so far, what do we have? We have a gap up on Wednesday, and we held that and kept moving higher. So far, the 3-day rule is in effect. We'll see what that means. But generally speaking, if it's going to work, it's going to mean that the rest of the month is going to close higher than here. It doesn't have to be significantly higher, but it is something that's right about 80% of the time when it occurs. So something to keep in mind. A little bit unusual based on the fact that, when we got the run up late last year, from mid-October until the end of the year, we were sort of looking at a potential for a sell-off here in January. And the sell-off started the first 3 days. That might mean that we don't get it after that. Here's the NDX, gained 50 points on Wednesday, and the S&P gained 23, so that's a bounce back from where it was. Here's the SOX up just 6 points, not a big deal on the SOX index. Here's the biotechs up 113 points. That's now an expensive index. That's finally breaking out of the range. It didn't really pull back this last week. The VIX dropped 1.81 points back to 1931 after running basically into the green static trend line that you see there. That's the flat line. And crude oil, maybe not surprisingly, finally got a day up. We hadn't had one in a while. Closing at 49.12. That's up, believe it or not, from 48.07 where it closed the prior session. So we did get sort of a turning point in the market. It was an excellent day here at Tradesight. We had 8 out of our 10 of our trades that triggered with market support worked well, and many of them worked well. It's a very, very good, solid first 2 hours at least. The back end of the day wasn't super interesting. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Here's the ES front month futures contract in 5-minute bars. Again, you got bigger range on Monday and even Tuesday. Tuesday you can still see here. Wednesday you can see we gapped up, did not fill the gap. First hour or two was choppy, and the back half of the day was flat, but yet volume was up in the market. We ended up closing at a reasonable number of 1.82 billion shares. Not as much as the prior day, but still up from before that. And it was a good solid trading day. Here's the NASDAQ side. Also, you can see, look how flat these last 2 hours are. I mean, that's really boring. There's nothing to do in there, or last 4 hours even. But the first 2 hours of the day was great. We had a great run. So what do we have here for the next day, which is Thursday? Economic data-wise, because we had trade balance yesterday. We've got the Challenger job cuts. That's 2 hours before the bell. We've got the continuing and initial jobless claims. That's the weekly number, an hour before the bell. And then an hour into the market, we've got natty gas, and at 2 p.m. Eastern time, we've got consumer credit. Friday, we do have unemployment data with the non-farm payroll number. That'll be a little more important, but Fridays are Fridays, and probably the second half of the day won't be that exciting. So that's what we're looking at for the next day. We'll be in the lab calling it as usual. We've already posted the stock report for the night, and there's a couple of picks in there for everybody off the daily charts. Hope you have a great trading day, and we'll talk to you on Thursday.